At the Same Time by Melissa Sharpe. Read by Eden Bodner. I am making tea. I get the biggest mug I have, fill it nearly to the top with tap water, microwave it for 1 minute and 30 seconds, and then I'll try this new jasmine green tea. I'm making tea. The crackly buzzer by my door growls at me. I already know it's Philip. I can't even think of who else both knows that I live here now and would even want to visit me. I walk over to the door and push the button as far in as it will go, yelling, "What?" "Let me in. I left my keys." "That's your fault. Just walk down the stairs and unlock the door for me, man." This stupid 8-unit building. There were 6 other people I could have ended up across the hall from. 6 other people I could share a rear balcony with. I go down the stairs and open the front door. Here I am in the dark in this old building, letting in my irresponsible neighbor. You can hardly believe I was making a 7th birthday cake not that long ago. In a totally new and bright white kitchen. Apron around my waist. I swear. But I don't get to do that anymore. That was back when I lived in the townhouse. The tiles on the floor of this apartment are original to the building. Philip has a bottle of something in a crunchy paper bag clenched in one fist. He holds it up and gives it a gentle sway back and forth. It's so late, and the day won't end. I try to let Philip walk up the stairs first, but he just stands there, so I go up first. I picked this apartment because I could afford it. And I thought the neighborhood was one of those places where everyone was relaxed and painted outdoors on the weekends or something. It felt like something that would make sense because there was a yoga studio not too far away. And not that I was going to do yoga, but that was the type of mood I needed to be around. Some kindness. A place where everyone would love to be a part of me starting over or whatever I was doing. My microwave beeps once. A reminder that I have to come get something out of it. True story. I took that microwave from the basement of Michael's townhouse. At Michael's townhouse, when I lived there, the neighbors never left their keys behind or annoyed me, if anyone was wondering. Philip tugs the bottle out of the paper bag to reveal that it was, in fact, a bottle of rum. That isn't annoying, but Philip is always irritating me in other ways. See, it's so easy to end up at his apartment because of the balcony we share. You go out there and then he's out there with his friends and then you look around and it's like, you're doing something. Look at me. I'm with all these people. I can have so much fun. I want to record it. I take pictures. Try to make Philip and his friends look older. My age or close to it. So fun, right? I have to press my finger to the circle on my phone screen twice before it takes the picture. That party on the balcony could be my new life. And if I try, maybe I can make you wish it was yours. And you sure as shit don't want it. When I was still at Michael's townhouse, one day his phone was on the table next to me, and it kept humming and humming. I could glance to the side and see the partial messages on the center of his screen. Bzz. She wasn't happy. Bzz. What was he thinking? Bzz. So much more to consider. Even with that humming and buzzing around me, I enjoyed that life so much. I forgot to take pictures of it. There is a slight chance that because we have spent a lot of nights on the balcony talking and drinking, and because we have gone grocery shopping together twice, and sometimes I do borrow or lend him things, that Philip believes we are friends. But I hate the sight of him. He's easily 15 years younger than me, and he wears shirts with dumb things on them like flames. On the balcony, Philip opens a beer and hands it to a friend of his. A guy I've seen before and perhaps have met, but still, he seems unfamiliar. When I can't remember people and things, I make deals. Once I can't remember X number of things, I know it's time for me to start doing this so I can remember better. Or stop doing this other thing so I can remember better. If I lose my keys, I won't drink for a week. That sort of thing. I had this glass Philip handed me, but for some reason I can't find it. So I go in my apartment to get a new one. It's not a bad place, really. I have this air plant hanging above the sink. It is my second air plant. With the first one, I thought you didn't have to do anything to it, and it grows. Just grows. No water, no soil. It survives on the air. As it turns out, interestingly enough, you have to water your air plant pretty regularly. But without anything under it to catch the water, you have to put them in your sink to soak or spray them. It's about 7,000 times more inconvenient than a regular old houseplant. But because I killed the first one, and I know you don't get to try many things over again, I'm taking care of this air plant and giving it a bath in the sink every week. At Michael's townhouse, which I used to live in, he had all these houseplants, so much greenery and lushness. In the dining room, there was a tree, a goddamn tree, a ficus, with these brilliant medium green leaves and gentle, twisty branches. It was cultivated love, but it was also so much decay. The wet soil always smelled like someone's disease, and the leaves would curl and rot as they fell in the pot and all over the floor. Michael would bake chicken with rosemary, but I couldn't tell if we were celebrating domesticity or eating flesh surrounded by decomposing plants. After Michael and Michael's townhouse, I found this apartment. Remember how I chose it because it was cheap? So cheap, in fact, you'll love this, that it was mostly 20-year-olds with roommates who lived there. It was minutes from the college downtown, and all those bars nearby aren't bad. I get my glass and fill it with ice and rum, and a spoonful of vanilla ice cream. It's what someone who didn't like drinking would drink. So it gives me a chance to pretend that I am that type of person. I can't take a sip until I get on the balcony. See, because I don't drink alone. That was my resolution for this week. I've stuck to it. And once I forget 2 more things, then I'll stop drinking on Fridays altogether. Tonight, however, I only forgot one guy who I maybe didn't even know. Also, I'm not drinking alone. I'm drinking on my balcony with my neighbor and his friends. I'm okay. For right now. I forgot someone's birthday last week. I had remembered it weeks ago. Made a mental note to buy a card, to find a gift, to bake a cake, to buy a cake, to do something. Then as the days tripped and stumbled along, I lost the note. Crumpled it in my brain. Got confused because the weather is much warmer for March than usual, so I thought maybe it was May. I forgot someone's birthday this week. Juliana turned 8. A big, round set of circles. A double halo. A snowman. An infinity sign. 8 years. And I wasn't there, even though I was there when she turned 7. She turned 8 and I forgot. I remembered briefly, early, when it didn't count. Then I forgot, when it mattered. When Juliana turned 7, I baked a cake. We baked it together. The mix was from a box, but we added the rest of the ingredients and stirred it, which, as a child, hell, as an adult, is close enough to baking from scratch. We tipped the mixing bowl together to pour it into the cake pan. See, we had plans for this cake. We had decorating supplies. We were going to do this the real way. We had to wait for the cake to cool. So Juliana listened to these songs she liked, and I had a glass of wine and read a magazine. Michael, in the other room, asking how it was going. When the cake had cooled, Juliana and I scooped frosting into bags with metal tips, tucked in the ends, and began to decorate the cake with puffy stars and shell-shaped lines and whatever else the tips did for us as we squeezed. It's fun getting to see how your hands can change the outcome of the frosting. You can lick the extra off your finger. Sometimes you don't have to remember all the details of a day because it's just like every other day. But a day where you bake a cake. You remember that day. What did we do the day after? I'm not sure. I think it was Sunday, so Michael had to drop Juliana off with her mom. I don't know what we did, though. No clue. I think I had wanted us to go out to dinner and clean up. It was Michael's townhouse. I think I said that, but I lived there. So the day after Juliana's birthday, I probably wanted to clean. I was thinking about birthdays and parties and fun and cake. I can't remember if Michael did anything like sigh or complain or roll his eyes or give me some sort of clue that he was going to break up with me the next week. I take my glass outside. When Philip looks at me, he lingers a bit and turns away. It's because we had kissed some time back. I was convinced I could do it. That it didn't matter that I was a licensed driver the year he was born. I could do it. I shouldn't have, though. Everything was buffed shiny and fun because we'd made margaritas with some guys he knew. We had these tacos. He placed his hands on my waist under the shirt, and it felt like I had finally recovered. But we stumbled, too, and I think I said we shouldn't. And so we stopped, right there in the hallway of our apartment building. Philip and his friends are playing a game where each person has to name an animal that begins with a letter of the alphabet. Someone starts with A, then the next person gets B, and so on, until someone can't name an animal. Then they're out, or they have a drink, or nothing happens, because they don't seem that concerned with the rules. After animals, ending with zebra, obviously, they move on to movie titles. I get up to refill my glass because it's okay to have one drink per stupid game that your neighbor plays. "Bring me one," this guy says. It's Philip's other friend, who is more unrecognizable than the first. "What?" "Can I have one of those too?" he asks. Pauses. "Please?" "Yeah, sure." Philip's friend is named Glacier, which I don't believe, until he shows me his license. I also have a rule about making sure I go to bed before 1 a.m, because, for the love of everything, that is late enough to be up drinking with your neighbor's friends on the balcony. Philip and his friends will stay up later. They don't have rules yet because they're young and play drinking games, and they haven't done anything complicated yet. They make great company for the evening, no matter who they are around. And then, in the morning, they feel okay, so they don't make rules yet. One day, at a science center, Juliana and I pulled on this rope with all our might. The rope was connected to a pulley up above, which then was connected to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds of weight. If you stand on the first circle on the ground, it's pretty much impossible to pull down hard enough to lift the weight. If you go to the second circle on the ground, some people may be able to lift the weight. If you stand at the third circle on the ground, you can totally pull the weight. The third circle is the farthest away, and the plaque next to it explains that distancing yourself from the weighted load allows for the work required to lift it to be distributed. Backing away from the hard work makes it easier to do. Yet Juliana and I stood on the second circle pulling that rope as hard as we could. Stuttered laughs as we dangled off the ground. I could hear Michael that day, sort of far away but not really, whispering into a phone. These little phrases like, "I'm not talking about this now," and she's fine, popping out louder than the rest. I kept tugging on that rope, making the work hard by being so close. I sit in one of the chairs on the balcony and sip. Philip calls over to me. Some of them are going in his apartment to play cards. Do I want to join them? It's late and I'm just going to go home, but thanks anyway. When I say it, it sounds like I live so far away, but really, I'm 4 feet away. Last week I had these giant paper grocery bags, and they were hard to hold in my hands while unlocking my door. I put them on the floor, as you will, just as Philip was coming out of his door. "Oh, hey, hi," he said, pulling a hand through his hair and closing the door behind him. "I can't help. I have to go," he said, and went down the stairs 2 at a time. I didn't need help, though. It was 3 bags, They were on my floor, and in 30 seconds they would be inside with me. I would put the chicken where it goes and the crackers where they go, and I'd make sure the lettuce was front and center so I'd eat it before it wilted into a brown, unforgiving sludge. But I didn't need help with any of that. What did Philip think was going on in my life? On the balcony, Philip's friends go into his apartment, but leave his door open. It's the end of the night, I suppose. If only all things had such clear endings. Philip and his friends are loud through his open door. When I go inside, my apartment is blue with the glow of the TV. I have blinds that are made out of something pretending to be wood, and I spin the rod until they're shut as tight as they can go. I can still hear Philip and his friends, as if they are the noise of my apartment too. I'm fine with it tonight because I'm going to have the TV on, and that makes noise anyway. I'll sleep in a minute. We used to play this game, Michael, Juliana, and myself. You'd move around the board, and everyone would try to land on the same spot as your piece to knock you out. You'd be there just moving around, following a path, and then, someone landed where you were, and you had to go all the way back to the start. You were completely innocent, minding your own business, and it was the other person that messed your shit up. I guess you could say it was your fault for playing with them in the first place. I want to find something on TV that is both interesting and that will put me to sleep. I can choose between enthusiastic people trying to sell me stuff and a cooking show. I go with the cooking show. This lady is flipping shrimp in a pan with paprika and something else. God, I'm so lonely right now. She wilts spinach in the pan with the shrimp and promises me it will taste great over any grain I choose. Any. It's up to me. One day at Michael's townhouse, I was rinsing dishes off before putting them in the dishwasher. I washed, while Michael went outside because Juliana's mom showed up, and she was angry. Juliana had to stay in the car. This is still our life. Even though we aren't together, some things are shared. And you shouldn't add, subtract, or change it in any way without talking to me about it. You don't know what negative effect you can have. You have one thing, one person to put first. And surprise, you failed. You failed, Michael. I don't really like shrimp, because I could never tell if it has been cooked properly, or if someone took the time to remove the shit from their backs. In the morning, I have to make coffee. My coffee maker is a piece. If I take the pot out before it's done brewing, the coffee spills everywhere. I open my door to the balcony to let the air in. It's cold, the way it should be this time of year. One of Philip's friends is out there already. Or still out there. He doesn't see me look at him. None of these people are my friends. None of this is mine. I pour the coffee and look out my window at the friend of Philip's. He's on the phone, leaning over the railing. Michael used to have these giant coffee cups, and we would fill them up twice some mornings. These foggy and slow weekend mornings when it was just us, and I could stay there. Sometimes we would make eggs or something. If it was cold, watch a movie under a blanket. I bought new hand towels for the bathroom. I was in the bathroom the first time I heard Juliana's mom call, screaming. I'm not sure how many times she called before, but this was the first one I could hear. Something was wrong because Michael told her to quiet down. But even when he walked a room away, I could hear her explain that I didn't matter at all. It was, as I heard, none of my business. And then all that time later, when Michael broke up with me, I tried to ask him what I would do. I mean, really, what would I do? He said I would do what I had always done, which is the dumbest shit he had ever said because we broke up. And I'm not baking cakes and taking Juliana to the science center. I haven't put a ponytail in anyone else's hair or washed the dishes after a family meal. I'm not watering the houseplants of a man who told me one thing before telling me another. I'm not doing any of that shit, am I? Mornings in the apartment used to feel like a new chance each day. Now the sun only highlights the dust in this place while trying, it really is trying, to nourish that air plant at the same time. Philip comes out on the balcony and knocks on my door. I let him in. It is early and maybe he brought me breakfast. Only he is empty-handed. Maybe we should talk, he says. But I don't have anything to say to him. I don't want to talk about anything. There can't be anything to say. I just think, he starts, pulls a hand through his hair. I don't want it to be weird or complicated now. I laugh. I try to sound like a sophisticated woman on television. I should be sophisticated compared to him. It's not weird. It's so not complicated, I say before taking a sip of coffee. My pot hisses. Don't worry. Okay, he says. Philip looks over his shoulder like he should leave. But maybe he should stay. I'm not going to be here much longer anyway, I say. I can't tell how he reacts. I'm a little nauseated. And he is so young that maybe what he means is one thing looks like another. Like me, living in this building, or me living in Michael's townhouse. It's cool, I say. We both do these half waves. Because it is time for Philip to go back to his place. Maybe I should too. I decide that I have to create a list of 3 other apartments I could rent before I can buy a bottle of wine. Then next, I have to see about getting a car. That would be a good idea. And I can mess it up 3 times before I'm out. 3 strikes. This is a good plan. And I feel like it will maybe work. My microwave beeps.